Okay, so let us start. So let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Let us do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmita Mena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitam Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpaturabhyascha Kripa Sindhavevacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadesha Tarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So let us start. So we were in the chapter 10. So it was all about Lord Krishna at the end of 9th chapter, what he advises us to fix our mind on him, and whatever we do, everything we should do in remembrance of him. So then it describes this opulence on which a devotee can fix his mind and how to remember him when we see the opulent, powerful and beautiful things in Krishna. So this is what we are seeing in this chapter. And the conclusion of chapter 9 is that one should become a pure devotee of the Lord by focusing mind on the Lord. Okay. So chapter 10 will be focused on the descriptions of Krishna's opulence. By hearing, will increase our devotion. So it's a hearing, that's what Krishna kept on saying, Tat Shruno. That is, and he says here my duty, and whatever the knowledge is giving us, will be free from the miseries and it will benefit us. So in 10.1 to 10 thing, we saw Krishna's position as the origin of everything. So in these verses, Krishna explained the Lord that he is the cause of everything. That is the origin. Even the demigods or the Lord Brahma or Shiva, they don't know him because they were all created by him, right? Because they were created by them, who have been created, they don't know the creator completely, right? So he says, his position, only if anybody understands that he is the origin and is absolute, then they can liberate it. So the wise people who know him as a thing. Then he talked about the Chatusloki, so 10.8. Then 10.8 to 10.11. That is the Chatusloki it gives the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? So when he talked about the devotional service, he says the pure devotee. Then in 10.8, he describes how his pure devotees, they accept him as a supreme personality of Godhead. They know everything comes from him and he is the cause and he is the origin. And with great determination, they worship him. They do devotional service. And how do they do? Then he talked about his activities in 10.9. All their thoughts are all on the Lord Krishna. They always like to talk about him. They like to hear his pastimes. They like to chant his names and always in connection with the Lord. So their activity is there. For them, everything is the Lord Krishna. So that is what they do. So then in 10.10 to 11, Krishna explains his reciprocation. How he reciprocates to them. How through his compassion, he gives them the understanding to come back to him. That is what is finally the mercy with the pure devotees. because they are under his shelter. They are under his divine energy, shelter of his divine energy, right? So he gives them the Jnana Deepena. So, and he removes the ignorance in their hearts, and this is the benefit. So, only through devotional service we can go back to him. So they can think. So, and what is the relationship? In 10.8, we come to know the relation between the devotees and the Lord, because they know him as the Supreme Lord. So they try to connect with him through their services. That's how they know they are the eternal servant of the Lord, and they do their devotional service. Through that, they have their connection to the Lord, and their activities we saw be there. And what is the benefit? They can go back. So now in 10.12 to 42, we are going to see how Arjuna, listening to all this. See, we have been going through from the all these 9 chapters, and after listening to the Chatushloki, he accepts him as his Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. And then he wants to hear more about it. See, some of his opulence he showed us. They said in chapter 7, he talked about his energies and how his thing. Then how he is the taste in the water, and he's the strength in the mankind, he's the heat in the fire, the smell in the earth, everything. He kept on saying all these things. But now Krishna wants to hear more about his opulences. And then that's what we're going to see in this today. Okay. So this is the special mercy of the Lord, which destroys all the impedance and dispels any ignorance in the heart of the pure devotee with the shining lamp of knowledge. So after hearing all that, now Arjuna is accepting Krishna's position and requests to hear more of his opulences. And he does not just accept it, he refers to previous authorities, and then he confirms Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead, and also his own realization. By now he realizes, because of the understanding the Krishna has given to him about the science. And he prays to Krishna to hear more of his glory, so that he can always think of him and remember him. Otherwise, Krishna will remain unknown. So this is what he says in this. Arjuna Uvacha. It's a very nice verse. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhava Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Pid Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Deva Rishi Nardas Tata Asito Devala Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Brarish. Param Brahma. Param Brahma means he is the Supreme Brahman. He is the ultimate. Param Dhama is the ultimate Supreme abode. Dhama. Pavitram is the purified, is the pure. And is the Paramam. That is Paramam Bhavan is the absolute truth. Okay. And Purusham is the eternal divine person. And is the Shashvatam, eternal. Divyam is the transcendent. Adi Devam is the unborn. Okay. I mean, Adi Devam is the original. Adi. Okay. And Ajam is the unborn. Right. And all pervading. Avastam, and he says all the great rishis like Narada, Deva rishis like Narada, Asito, Devala, and Vyasa. All of them proclaim this of you. And now you yourself are declaring it for me. So here Arjuna finally, he accepts in this verse, is very beautifully, he's saying, you are the Supreme Brahman. Okay, Param Brahma. Param Dhama, that is the supreme abode we have to go. Pavitram is the pure. And anything like the sun is very pure, no? It purifies everything. Paramam Bhavan, absolute truth, and is the Shashvata. Purusham, Divyam, Adi Devam is the original, and Ajam is unborn. And he says, not only you are that, whatever you have said, even our authorities, like the Narada, Deva Rishis, great sages, Narada, Siddha, Devala, all proclaim this of you. So it's not just I'm telling you because I'm trying to flatter you. Even these Deva Rishis are also told. And you yourself are telling me now. So I accept everything whatever you have said. He says, I accept you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So this is the thing. Parabrahma means you're the supreme truth, and Paramdhama is the ultimate abode, where we have to go back to it. Is the purest, untainted by material contamination. Parambhava is the absolute truth. Purusham is the you're a person, supreme enjoyer. Okay, Shashvatam is eternal. Divyam is the transcendental. And Adi Devam is the original Lord. Okay, he says, I'm the cause of everything, right? And he's the original. And all life names come out of it. He's the unborn. Vibhum is the greatest and accepted by all acharyas. Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. You yourself are declaring it to me. I totally accept as truth. Neither demigods or devils can understand your personality. So he clearly now he surrenders. There is no any illusion left in him. Okay. So he finally accepts everything and he says, whatever you have said, it's all there accepted by the sages also, and you're also saying, so I accept everything you have told. Okay. And in the purport, Prabhupada gives the references also, Vedic references and things from where it is also said that he is the original, he is the unborn, he is the Param Brahman. Okay. So you can see the purport is quite big and nice, where he claims that he is the Param Brahman. And continues to say, Sarvam etad pratam manye en mam vadashi keshava nahi te bhagavan vyakti vidur deva na dhana. I totally accept. So you might think, why is repeating? But because once you understand, you want to tell that, kept on repeating. So he says, I accept as true all that you have told me. I know now that gods or the demons can, neither the gods, the demons, O Lord, know thy person. Because they have been created by him and the demons. So surely they won't know you personally. So I accept as truth and what all you have told me. Okay. So indeed, you alone know yourself by your own potencies. O origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods. So Lord of. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport how we should accept the instructions of the Lord. The acceptance of Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And then only we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the purport is very nice. Anyone can volunteer. Hare Krishna. Arjuna herein confirms. Anybody? Sanjay Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I think all are silent. Nobody wants to volunteer. Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth that you have told me. Neither the demigod nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faceless and demonic nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not known even by the demigod, so that to speak of the so-called scholars of the modern world. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the supreme truth is Krishna, and he is a perfect one. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He received the authority of Bhagavad Gita, as described in the 4th chapter. The parampara system of disciplic succession for the understanding of the Bhagavad Gita was lost, and therefore Krishna reestablished that disciplic succession with Arjuna because he
considered
Arjuna his intimate friend and a great devotee. Therefore, as stated in our introduction to Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the parampara system. Once the parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. The acceptance by Arjun of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
So
Krishna.
here, Hare Krishna. So here clearly it says that Arjuna has understood the Supreme and is the perfect. And therefore we should follow the path of Arjuna. So we have to, anybody coming under the parampara system. So this is the parampara which has been started because he said the parampara is lost. So through Arjuna, Krishna is establishing the disciplic section. Okay, and we should emulate. As Arjuna accepted, we should also accept the instructions of the thing. Okay. In the next verse, and here the Supreme Lord Krishna can be known by persons who are in relationship with him through the discharge of devotional service, like Arjuna and his followers. So only by through devotional service we can know. Otherwise, it's not possible. And persons of demonic or atheistic mentality cannot know Krishna. And mental speculation leads one away from the Supreme Lord, and it's a serious. So it says we should try to read the commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita and not read any other people's commentaries. Otherwise, we will get led away. And here Krishna, this paragraph is very nice. A common man or even a liberated man who has realized impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma may not understand Krishna, God's personality. Such men, therefore, may endeavor to understand from the verses of Bhagavad Gita which are spoken by the person Krishna. Sometimes impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagavan or they accept his authority. But they cannot understand how he could be the supreme person. That is, sometimes it bewilders. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama. So here in this verse, Krishna says, Swayam evatmanatmanam vettatvam Purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpati. So Purushottama is the supreme person. And bhuta bhavana is the father, is the origin. Bhutesha is the thing. So here Krishna, Arjuna, why he says, here this is nice. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama, yet one may not understand him as, understand that Krishna is the father of all living entities. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Bhuta Bhavana, that is, he is the father of all living entities. And even if one comes to know him as the father of living entities, he may not know him as a supreme controller. See here how he is addressing is as a Bhuta Bhavana, is the father of all entities. And is the supreme controller because he is addressed as Bhutesha, the supreme controller of everyone. And even if one knows as he is the supreme controller, he may not know he is the origin of all demigods. So he is addressing him as Deva Deva, the worshipful god of all demigods. Even if one knows him as a worshipful of all demigods, one may not know he is the supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, he is addressed as Jagatpati. So the way the Arjuna is praying to him, as accepting him, you can understand that he accepted everything about the Lord. That he is the Purushottama, supreme person, he is the father of all living entities, and he is the controller, and he is the Deva Deva, is the controller of all Deva Devas, and is the supreme controller and enjoyer, and is the Jagatpati, that is the enjoyer. So everything, the way he has told, you clearly know how Arjuna has accepted him in all respects. Okay, so that's what here very clearly it says in the purport. Prabhupada explained it very clearly. Okay, and now he's saying, how should I meditate on you? In what various forms are you to be contemplated, oh blessed Lord? And this is asking is not for him because he has already accepted, right? And he also knows, and it is, but it is for us. Actually, it is for us, common men, to understand how to meditate on. Tell me again in detail, O Janatana, of your mighty potencies and glories, for I never tire of hearing your ambrosia words. Now again, he is asking him to tell about his thing. So why he is asking him to how to meditate is that here Prabhupada gives a reason why we have to think. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by Yoga Maya. See, we are in the Mahamaya, that is this material energy, the illusion we are. Okay. But even if you come out of it, but Krishna covers himself with the Yoga Maya. Only when he has this mercy, only then he'll remove that curtain for us, the devotees, to see him. Okay. So that Yoga Maya curtain will never be removed, only it will be removed by the mercy of the Lord Krishna. That's what he says, no, I'll give the knowledge of the pena. Okay. So that is what. So because of his Yoga Maya, we are devotees, only surrender souls and devotees can see him. Okay, not anybody else. But if you want to know him, then only through devotional service we can approach him. So that's what here clearly here. So because common man, including demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yoga Maya energy. So these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. So it is for our benefit he is asking that. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So this is what happened. We can see by the example of Prabhupada, how he had compassion. He wanted to spread this Krishna consciousness to everyone, right? So here Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he's a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. So he is addressing Krishna here specifically as Yogi because he is the master of Yoga Maya, okay, by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. So the common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. See, this is the reason. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of it. Therefore, he has to think material, because that is our senses which we have, because that is what we are seeing, the material world, material thing. Only through that we can make a beginning to know, try to know about the Lord, and we can think of him. So Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic person of this world. So he refers to the material nature. Because materialistic cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representation. That was one of the reasons why we take to deity worship. Okay? Because only through physical form, you need to have something, right? Physical, and through the physical nature. So how Krishna is manifesting his energy in this material world? This is why he is asking. So why is he asking about the vibhutis? Is to for us common man. Okay. So Prabhupada gives a very good explanation. We need to understand that. So Arjuna requests to hear more about Krishna's glories, how he is perfect. How I'm never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So what is the advantage of hearing Krishna's opulence? It increases the remembrance. We'll always think of Krishna. Thus, by remembering Krishna, one can relish great nectar. So, even never, actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam is more about the how the relations with the devotees is more about the devotees and the Lord Krishna, how he reciprocates them and how devotees reciprocate him. It's more about that, actually. So there also you see Saunaka Rishis tell Sutta Goswami, please tell us more about the Lord, because we will never be satiated. We want to hear more and more about Krishna's pastime. Okay. So why we saw that? Why he wanted to think? He wanted he's already satisfied with understanding of Krishna and has no doubt. He has no doubt about his position. He has clearly told him he's a Param Dhamma, he is Param Brahman, and Adi Deva, everything. Okay. But he's doing it for our people, for sake of common people and sake of materialistic, because we can only understand through material energy, right? So Arjuna wants to know how I shall constantly think of you. Taste the nectar, wants to hear more and more and taste the nectar of his words. So he is asking him how does Krishna respond? So Krishna describes the most prominent among his limitless, all-pervading opulences, names his opulences, and then explains that these opulences simply indicate a fraction of his glory. Because he pervades and supports the entire universe with a mere fragment of his total potency. So now Krishna says he's going to describe his energy, opulences. Opulences means it's like this vibhuti, is how he is in this material world. Okay. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Antake Katayishyami, Divya hi Atma Vibhutaya, Pradantaya Kurushreta, Nashti Anto Vistarish. The blessed, yes, I'll tell you of my splendorous manifestation, only of those which are prominent. Because it's so limitless, it's an inconceivable. It's not that easy to, because my opulence is limitless. And he says, I will only explain to you the prominent one. Okay. And then, Hare Krishna. Anybody can volunteer, Hare Krishna. Whoever. Chandrika Mataji? You are there. Hare Krishna. Aham Atma Gurakesha Sarva Bhutashya Sthita Aham Adischa Madhyamcha Bhutanam Anta Evach. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in our hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, middle, and the end of all beings.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may Chandrika Mataji.
Yes,
Purport. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Purport. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as Gudakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant because Arjuna is above such darkness. The personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion before the material creation. The Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from his everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahat Tattva, the universal elements. The total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahat Tattva, the total energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universe, he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of the spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the supreme soul Krishna enters. As stated in the Subala Upanishad, Pratyarthadi Sarva Bhutantar Yami Sarva Sheshi Cha Narayanaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as the super soul in all manifested universe. The three Purusha avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are also described in the Narada Panchatantra as one of the Satvata Tantras. Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purushakyanya Ato Viduhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Shirodakashayi Vishnu. In the material manifestation, the Mahavishnu or Karanodakashayi Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.47. We have Karana यह कारणा
Yes.
नव जले भजति समायोग nidram. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestation, and the end of all energy. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here, clearly here, Krishna says, I am the super soul. I am seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, middle, and the end of it. So here, Prabhupada clearly explains the Purusha incarnations, about the Mahatattva, okay, which we had discussed earlier also. Here, he clearly explains that. So he is the beginning. So he, unless he enters in there as the Purusha, as a super soul, only then they get the energy, right? So he talked about that. And then the Lord continues. Okay. Then he continues to talk about his opulence. How among the Adityas is the Vishnu, among the light is the sun. I mean, he gives the principal laws, the chief, through which he can you can see his opulences. It's not that he is the sun, but he is the what do you call the his greatness. You know, you can see his energy there, principal energy. And among the Marathis is the Maharishi and the stars. So the moon is also a star. And the moon gets the light from the sun. So similarly, the stars are also get their light from the sun. Okay. So, and among the Vedas is the Samaveda. Among the demigods is the Indra, is the king. Because among the demigods. And actually in one of Bhagavatam, it also says once in one of the yugas where there was no one eligible to become the Indra, the chief of the demigods, then Krishna himself comes, takes the post of Indra. Okay. So Indra is a post, you know. So then, and among the senses, I am the mind. Among the living beings is the life force. And among the Rudras, the Rudras is the 11 Rudras, is the Lord Shiva. And the Lord of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas is Kuvera. And the priest, and Brihaspati is the chief of the priest in the what is in the Sabha of Lord Indra. Okay. And among the generals is Skanda, that is the Subramanya. And the bodies of water is ocean, and the sages is the Brigumani. The vibrations is home. Sacrifices is the chanting of holy name. The japa meditation is in the sacrifices. And the immovable things is the Himalayas. Trees is the Ashwata. Sages of the demigods is Narada. Chitralata is the singers, or the Gandharvas are there, no, who sing everything. And the perfect beings is Kapila, and the horses, these are the ones which came when they were doing the Manvanta, right? And Prabhupada gives nice explanations in the purpose, you know, more about them. Okay. And about the men in the Mahabharata, Vepas is the Vajrayadya. Among the cows is the Surabhi, cow, and the Kanda, Vasuki. Serpents, snakes is the Ananta. Aquatic deities is the Varuna. And Aryama is the Pitra. Pitra Loka is the chief, is the Aryama. And the dispensers are plus Yamaraj. And the deity is the Prahlad. And he's the time. It's the subtues is the time. It's the death. It's the time. It's the Kala, right? Among the beasts is the lion. The birds is Garuda. Purifiers is wind. And Rama is the wielder of weapons. Shark, fishes, Ganges, then beginning and also middle, spiritual self. So he says these are the things, and someone goes on and it talks about 82 opulences, all devouring death and gender. So once we are born, every day we are dying actually, and we are going towards our death, right? So final level is our death, right? But as a day passes, death is there. So all devouring death is Krishna, generator. And here he talks about fame, fortune, speech, material, other things. We talk about this in our languages, as a Shakti, is a women. And hymns is the Bharat, Sama, Gayatri. And Magashira, swing, gambling, splendor, victory, strength, Vasudeva, Arjuna, Vyasa, Usana, rod of chastisement, punishment, morality, silence, wisdom. Okay. So these were the unlimited opulences which he describes. Okay. So it is not that he's limited by only this, only the chief of that. From that we can understand. So when you see the great opulences and the thing, you can understand that there's a lot beyond that. He is there in that. He is in it. Without that, nothing can come. So he talked about the demigods, he talked about sages, and of all demigods, this is a big list here. Okay. And human, then kings, then Vedic mantras, then qualities, sacred things, those who seek victory, morality, splendor, speech. And without the speech or the memory, it all comes from him. Nothing else we have our own. Okay. So, and when you see all that, when you see these opulences, then you can really see the Lord. This is how his energy is pervading in everything, in every aspect of this cosmic universe. Okay. So this is the pervasive energy of the Lord. And this is how we can think of him. If you see anything wonderful or anything beautiful, you can see that is the essence of the Lord. That is the Lord there. Okay. So even in the material nature, we can understand him, his hand, his energy there. So furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. So, and conqueror of enemies. There is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite incompetence. Okay. So, okay. So, know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Okay, so you can easily see that Krishna is explaining that anything, any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be a fragmented manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it is to be in the spiritual world or the material world. Anything extraordinary opulent should be considered to it represent Krishna's opulence. Okay. Next, the last verse. Ahadva bhuta naitena kim jnatena tvarchana vistabhayam idam krishtam ekam sena sito jagat. What need is the Arjuna for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So the Supreme Lord is telling, he is represented throughout the entire material universe because he is entering into all the things as super soul, right? So he, as a Karnadakshana Vishnu, he created the globes and all universe. Then he enters into it as a Karnadakshana Vishnu. And in each and everything, he enters as Kshirodakshana Vishnu. Since he is entering into all, he is pervasive. His energy is there in everything. So here tells Arjuna, there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence of grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as super soul. Actually, Prabhuji keeps saying, we exist because Krishna exists. So from Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. Okay. That is what we have to understand. So this here one thing is very clear. There is a mission that people think worship any demigod will lead to one to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Supreme Goal. But it's not that. Here clearly Krishna says worship of demigods is thoroughly discouraged here because even the greatest demigod like Brahma and Shiva represent only a part of the opulence. He is not the complete. Brahma or the thing, they're only part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. Because I'm Supreme Lord, there has to be one origin, isn't it? So Krishna says he is the origin of everyone born. And no one is greater than him. He is the greatest. As Asamudam. No one can be superior to him or equal to him. So even in Padma Purana, it says that one who considers Supreme Lord in the same category with demigods, even the Brahma, becomes an atheist. So it is not right. Okay. So that's one thing which is very clear, that it discourages the demigod worship, right? Because it's not that demigods are there. They are all being created by him, but they are there given certain responsibility portfolio to handle the material manifestations, which is the cosmic manifestations which the Lord has made, right? But he is the supreme person. So that understanding is brought out very clearly here. Okay. And if one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulence and expansions of Krishna's energy, then can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Krishna. So once he understands this, then he can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. So this is the reason why the Lord has to explain everything. He is giving in more detail, because he told a little bit in 7th chapter and also in thing, but here he gives a little bit more about 82 opulence, which you say, so that we should not have any doubt about the position of the Lord Krishna, so that we can fix our mind in the worship of the Lord without deviation. And he's pervading by the expansions and his partial representation. Pure devotees, therefore, that's why they concentrate their minds on Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. They're always situated in the transcendent position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna is very clearly indicated in this chapter in the verses 32. So that is the way of pure devotional service, and you can attain the perfection. Okay. So from Lord's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets his power. And by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Krishna is worshipped. So this is what we concludes in this chapter. Hare Krishna. So that's what Lord says. What is there? Need to know. But what need is there, Arjuna? For all this detailed knowledge, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Okay. So that's what we understood here in the conclusions, that Krishna's potent energy, even the sun gets his power, and by Krishna's passion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Krishna is worshipped. And how to concentrate mind in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service by hearing about different opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy. Okay, when we understand how he pervades, how he is there in everything, then we can attain the highest devotional thing. So association with the devotional service and the worship of Krishna are explained in the Chatur Sloki. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of chapter 10. Okay. I hope it is clear